Hey, 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 it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today's episode's a little bit different. Today, I am bringing a big announcement for you, and I want to talk about what it looks like to change as a business owner. And specifically, I'm going to share with you what I'm changing inside my coaching business, why I'm making these changes, and what's to come. So, hang on to your horses, because here we go. All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. Okay. What's going on, Rebecca? You've teased this on the gram. You've been talking about this on the podcast. Like, what is the deal, right? Well, essentially, I have spent the better part of last year really self-reflecting and just trying to figure out, like, what direction am I taking this thing? Because so far I feel like everything I've been doing in the coaching space, in the online space, has been a bit of a reaction to what people have asked for, which is smart business, right? So they say. But there comes a point when you feel like you are doing literally everything and you just don't have enough hours in the day. You don't have the resources to hire the people. And I know if you're a small business owner listening to this, you can relate. It's that, oh, if I could just hire someone to do my social media, oh, it would just take off and then I could focus on my design clients. Or if I could just have the finances to hire an intermediate instead of a junior designer, then, oh my gosh, I could really churn out much higher end products or projects. Sorry. It's that feeling like if I could just. However, I do not have capital funding like many of you, right? This isn't something that this isn't a business, at least not yet, at least not now, that I'm looking. Oh my gosh, I'm so hot. I'm taking off my sweater. Hold on a second. Woo, that's better. If you're watching this on YouTube, yes, I am wearing a t-shirt in the middle of winter. I don't know. I can't control the temperature in my studio, but the good news is I'm back to recording in my studio for now. I think I've controlled the fan noise and I think I fixed the mic issue. So fingers crossed I can do this here and not at my dining room table. Okay, I digress. Let me get back to where I was. So you guys know the story. And if you don't know the story, here is the cool notes, or here are the cool notes. So back in 2018, I had this idea. I was like, I wanted to bring designers together. And I really just wanted to expand my circle of designer besties. I already had a really great group of women. One was my designer bestie, Jessica Kelly. You guys should definitely go give her a follow on Instagram. She's a beautifully talented designer here in Toronto, Jessica Kelly Design. And Jessie was my first designer friend. And it wasn't that she was the first designer I met, but she was the first designer person who I was able to share with and pick her brain. And that started very slowly. And that was pre really Instagram explosion. That was pre online communities, online education. Like that was probably back in 2014. 2015, when I was still working for Steven. I was working for another designer at the time. And we would every once in a while, every few months, connect over the phone. And I'd say, hey, like, this is what's going on in my business. And then we would start to get together. And it was so instrumental to my growth as a business owner to know that I had someone who got it, who I could lean on and ask for help, someone who I felt like was in the trenches with me, even if she wasn't even if she wasn't running my business. Like we weren't business partners. We have very distinct styles, very distinct businesses, but it was so amazing. And I thought, oh, can we expand this? So I wanted to get designers together. And I've shared probably in my email list, I don't know if I've shared it here before, but I had this experience of creating a meetup when I was back in my 20s working and struggling as an actor in Vancouver. And I thought it would be a great idea to bring all these actors together, all these struggling actors, people I'd seen at audition, some that I'd met, some from acting class. And let's do a meetup. And so I put it on Facebook because at the time, Facebook, I don't think Instagram actually existed yet. Facebook was the place. And so I was like, hey, let's do a meetup. And I think I even did like a Facebook event and I invited all these people. And I went with my one friend at the time, and we went to a local bar just on West 4th Avenue. It's like in Kitsilano in Vancouver. It was very like a few blocks from my house at the time, and no one showed up. Like literally no one came. And I was so deflated. I was like, well, that's it. Like young Rebecca was like, well, one bit of adversity. See ya. Bye. Close the door. Never doing that again. And so fast forward to 2018, into 2019, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see if there's designers that want to meet. And guess what? Worst that can happen is what happened to me back in 2007, 2008, and no one shows. So I put it into the universe on Instagram. I was talking about it in stories. I don't even think I put a feed post. I definitely didn't even have an email list at the time. It just was a client email list. And I was like, hey, if anybody wants to meet, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to call it a designer meetup. Let's meet up in person and talk shop. And over 50 people came. That poor pub owner was like, I wish we'd known all these people were coming. We're kind of understaffed for like a Tuesday or whatever it was. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But I wasn't going to like host an event and put any money forward. I didn't know if anyone was coming. I wasn't charging. This was just free. And it was freaking amazing. And I was blown away. And so that led to more meetups. People were like, you got to do this again. This is amazing. We had vendors hosting them. Long story short, we did this every month until the pandemic hit and everything shut down. And I didn't do anything for a couple of months. And that's when people said, hey, you should do a Zoom. Like, oh, it'd be so great to see everyone. And I was like, oh, yeah, really? You want to do Zoom? Oh, okay. So I responded and I did a Zoom and I brought designers together. It was called Designer Meetups. And at that point, I already had a Facebook group. So the Facebook group called Designer Meetups that you guys have heard me talk about here before was really created in reaction to the designers at the meetups. I remember them saying, because I was like, I guess I need to get an email list so I can let people know when the next one's happening. I started collecting emails and a couple people said like, you should just start a Facebook group. I'm like, really? Aren't Facebook groups dead? I was so on the Instagram train. I was like, Facebook, who uses Facebook? Anyhow, apparently a lot of people still used Facebook. So I created that group and you guys know it's grown to be it's at like, I think at the time of this recording, it's like 1,200 designers in that group. It's become quite large and it's amazing. But so I was able to reach out to people through that group to let them know I'm going to do a meetup on Zoom. And we did it on Zoom. People started asking me questions and we did it another month. And I started to realize people want to hear from me. So what did I do? I started this podcast. I was like, I always wanted to do a podcast. Now is the time. Projects were on hold because of like uncertainty with the pandemic and with the COVID thing that happened. We all remember that. And so I did the podcast. Okay, this story is getting really long. I'm going to shorten it. Fast forward today. I have multiple courses. I have hosted workshops. I did a VIP day finance workshop, which by the way was amazing. I feel like I need to do that one again. I feel like I need to rewatch it for myself. I started off with a marketing course, momentum marketing. Then it transitioned to power of process, which is still going strong and such an incredible resource. Then I did my pricing course this year. Then I launched a membership for the people who had taken my course so I could continue to support them as they implemented what they learned in the course. And all of a sudden, I found myself this year when there was some turnover on my marketing team and I needed to bring somebody new to come in and support, I realized we were just doing too much. It was a lot. It was overwhelming. And so, I've had this thought for a while, like, okay, what do I do? What is my next move? Like I can continue to do what I'm doing, but to be honest, it's really hard to do so many different things. And it came to a head in end of summer, beginning of fall, when I had a new marketing person. We had just finished launching Power of Process. And I was like, okay, so I need somebody now to help with like my Facebook group. There's like the free group, but then there's also the designers room group, and there's a power process group, and there's all these other needs that I need help with. And the person was like, well, we're gonna have to like hire some more people. And I was like, well, I don't have money for that. Like, I don't, like, the free group's not generating money. The podcast barely generates revenue. I've had a few sponsored things, but not enough to cover even the cost of the podcast. Then I have like the designers room group, which is great, but it's very small. And so that's like, and I'm like, oh no, something's just not making sense here. Come on, Rebecca, you're a smart businesswoman. And so what I did is I didn't make a decision. I paused, I thought, and I held back. And I'm like, what is it that really lights me up? And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have noticed that I dove into my unique ability. And I think I even shared that book resource in my email a few months ago. And I was like, okay, let's get back to the core of who I am, because that is when I'm going to be the most fulfilled. That's when I'm going to be the happiest. And that's when I'm going to be the most successful as a result. And I redid that Clifton Strengths Finders test. By the way, guys, I highly recommend you take it. I'll make sure that Vera includes that link in our show notes so you can go take it. You do have to pay, I think it's like $20 US. It's so worth it. And you do that test once, you don't have to do it again. And I actually went back and looked at my results. They even tell you on the website, like, the first time you do it, you don't have to do it again. Because I was prepared to pay again. I'm like, I don't know, maybe things have changed in 5 years. Have I changed as a person? Probably, but I think my core strengths are still the same. And so it's actually funny because I have it pinned. Where is it? I have it pinned right there on my board from 5 years ago. And I looked at it and I'm like, you know, one of my strengths is I'm futuristic. That is my top strength, interestingly enough, which is why I'm so good at visioning and planning and inspiring people with what's ahead. But then one of my other strengths is that I'm an includer. By nature, I naturally, as a core strength, bring people together. I enjoy bringing them together. It comes so naturally. I love to connect person A with person B. I love bringing in people who are a little bit outside. Maybe they feel marginalized. Maybe they feel like they don't fit in. And I think it's because of my own growing up and being constantly the new kid at school, because we change schools all the time. And this is not meant to be a therapy session. I will stop there. But essentially, I suppose that's really what led me to where I am today. When I think back on everything I've done, and yes, I love teaching, which is an extension of that. And it's curriculum development for some reason, like, really rocks my socks. I like developing curriculum. It's like a stepping stone. I can really visualize process. It's just the way my brain works. And quite frankly, like when I started out in the interior design industry back in 2009, I could never have imagined that this is where I would be. So here's the thing. I'm evaluating who I am. And this is what I'm going to suggest to you. And this episode is not about me. It is about you. I just had to give you some background, some backstory, because it's important that you understand where your strengths lie and intrinsically who you are. And so if you haven't done that test, ask some friends, ask family, like, what's my superpower? What is my unique ability in your opinion? And ask people from different walks of life. Don't just ask your inner circle, because people on the outside sometimes are better able to see it. And ask on Instagram. I don't know if you saw, I did some question stickers. I was like, what do you think my unique ability is? And unanimously, people were saying, you bring people together. You make me feel like I'm not alone. You make me feel like I can do it. You make me feel like the future is possible. And so what I realized is understanding who you are at your strength and your core is actually going to help you make better decisions. Decision making has been something I've felt that I struggled with. I agonize over making a decision. Should I go left? Should I go right? Should I have a salad? Should I have a sandwich? Like, ridiculous things. I've even worked with a business coach on like decision making. And so when making decisions in my business, sometimes I get so caught up in what other people are saying I should do that then I lose my intuition. I lose my gut instinct of what to do. And I'm sharing this because I think there are many of you listening who can relate to this feeling of maybe you are ready to leave your corporate job and you just want to go into the design industry, but you don't know what route to take. Should I take power of process? Obviously you should, but should I take power of process and just take a leap of faith and start my own business? Should I go work for a vendor, maybe at a furniture store, so I can start to get a sense of materiality and people in the industry? Should I go and try and work for an interior design firm or interior designer or decorator? Should I go back to school for design? How many of you have had this sort of like I don't know, like tossed salad of ideas, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know which mouthful is the best. I don't know. That was a really bad, that's a really bad analogy. Woo! I did not expect to go to this place that I'm going to right now. Do hang into the end though. It's going to be worth it. Okay. Figure out who you are, what makes you tick. What do you just do naturally? What comes so naturally to you that people praise you for it, that people tell you all the time? I mean, one of the things people tell me all the time is I can make a home feel really inviting and cozy. Like I just have a knack for cozy decor. It doesn't sound sexy, but it is my thing. It's about the lighting, it's materiality, and it is a core strength for sure. And that's part of my futuristic ability, is that I can envision the space. I can walk into a room and be like, okay, this, that, and the other. And that's just who I am. And that's probably why I've been so successful as a designer, because I just innately can do those things. But it's the includer in me that is desperate for more and to do more and to help more of you and to bring more people into my little inner circle. And if you're in my inner circle, you've already heard this announcement, because I always reward loyalty and I always ensure that those people who are inside my inner circle, who are paying to be in community and in my courses, they get first dibs and access to anything I do. That's been number one from the very beginning. I really believe in taking care of your people. And so many of you listening already know what I'm going to talk about. But there's still a few little nuggets in here that you might want to listen for. So things are shifting for me. I spent a lot of time reflecting, and I realized, as much as I love curriculum, and don't get me wrong, don't worry, my course is not going anywhere, I really love community. And what I found is that I don't have anything really other than my pricing course that is an affordable price point where designers can come into my inner circle and interact with me and be in that community and seek the benefits. The free Facebook group, I'm sorry, it just isn't the same thing. It doesn't cut it. It's more about like, hey, who can recommend this? Who recommends that? That is not the same thing. It's amazing to have that feature, and you have that inside any community, but there is another level that I want to bring to you. And so when I first started Designer's Room, which is the membership that's we call it a back end membership because it's on the back end of my course, and we invite our Power of Process students into it. But when I first started that, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to have this for Power of Process students. I want it to be a level playing field. This way, we can really like support everyone. It was a higher ticket for sure. Designer's Room has been $127 a month for a really long time. And it's an incredible circle with these incredible humans, but it is exclusive and it is small. And what I realized is it doesn't really gel with who I am, in the sense that I'm against exclusivity to an extent, right? Like I want to be inclusive of everyone. What I also realized was that Designer's Room was great because people have done my course, but there's a lot of great designers out there who haven't taken my course because they don't need it, because they already have process. They're already well established and they don't want to spend money on something they know that they already have in their business, but they would love the community. And the reason I know this is because I have designers ask me, hey, is there a way I can get into Designer's Room without doing your course? Like maybe there's an application I could fill out. And I always sort of thought about it and I was like, well, no, like it's just not going to make sense because we're going to use terms you're not going to know. And then I realized, this is crazy. This is ludicrous. Think about the designers that could connect. Think about the people already in that Designer's Room community that would benefit from new, fresh designers coming in with new ideas, people who are long established, newbies coming in and doing really cool new things. And I realized that Power of Process was a bit of a barrier to entry into my community. So here's here's what's going on, guys. I am here today and I am so honored and so excited to tell you that we are launching Designer's Room to the public. Now, before you think that that the average Joe walking down the street is going to join, that's not what I mean. I mean, we are opening Designer's Room to the interior design industry. You no longer will have to take power of process to join this community. I am so freaking excited about this decision. And I will be honest, I hesitated sharing this decision for the last little while because I wasn't 100% sure this is the direction I wanted to take. But then I realized, are we ever 100% sure? I mean, I don't know. Is this going to blow everything up? I think it will in a good way. I have a vision for an incredible community that is affordable, that is filled with like-minded, collaborative individuals, design firm owners, decorators, architects, you name it, in there, sharing their wisdom and learning. And I want to take over the world. But seriously, this is going to be the place to be in our industry. I already have 1,000,001 ideas, and I get so excited about it because the potential for us to impact change, to make more money, to make more friends, to have a little fun is immeasurable. So I want to walk you guys through what Designer's Room is. And there are some exciting new things that are coming in 2024 that aren't ready yet, but we are working behind the scenes. And I'm going to talk about the price point because it is significantly reduced because I want it to be accessible to you. And that has been sort of, it's so funny. Oh my God, guys, it's so funny. In 2020, the pandemic hits, right? Sidebar. Just going to give you a little sidebar. Hold on, sip of tea, sip of tea. I always pour tea before I record a podcast, which is like the stupidest thing because then I'm talking the entire time and I never drink it and then it's cold. Anyways, 2020 hit and I was like to my husband, I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to support designers. Like I feel like I need like a lower tiered, like low ticket membership just to get people in so that we can all like be together and communicate. And I, and then I talked to somebody else. Here we go, right? And I'm like, oh, like asking everyone's freaking opinion. And someone was like, oh, well, that's going to be complicated. Now you're going to have 2 tiers, and how are you going to manage that? And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. That sounds like a lot of work. Nope, not doing that. So I didn't do it. So it's like this idea that I once had that probably I should have just trusted my gut in the first place. But now I'm simplifying everything. Designer's Room is now the place to be. That is where all my energy and resources are going to go. That is where we are going to make the biggest difference. Do not worry. Power of Process will be back again this spring. That is not going anywhere. My other course, Pricing with Confidence, is not going anywhere. And we have exciting future plans for courses. But my focus 2024 is to make Designer's Room the place to be in the interior design industry. Inside Designer's Room, you get immediate answers to your questions because we are using an incredible AI-based platform. So before I get into that, I also want to just tell you in general what it is. Like, it is a safe and inclusive online community. So it is for design firm owners to connect, to learn from each other, to learn from me, to learn from experts, and to grow, and not just grow. When I say grow, I don't mean necessarily just scale your business, make it bigger. I mean, grow as a person, grow as a professional, developing your business practices, bettering your business practices. What we are doing is I'm taking the Designer's Room that exists, that people have been paying $127 a month for. Don't worry, we're taking care of our OGs. Always do. Always want to take care of our OGs. But we are taking that and you are going to get access to that platform, which means you're getting access to over 2 years of recorded trainings. It is our vault of trainings. There are trainings by me, trainings with guests, and you're getting access to all the live Q&A sessions. We do live Q&A sessions every month. You're going to get access to that entire historical content. That what's the word for it? There's another word for it. I can't think of it. Yeah. Inventory, that might be the word. Essentially, in Designer's Room, you get access to a beautiful portal. It is a brand new portal that we just moved to a new platform a few months ago. We've been trying it and testing it out, and it is freaking amazing. And we've just scratched the surface on what this platform can do. But essentially, every month we have 2 Zoom calls. One is a training, a coaching session with yours truly or a guest expert. The second is called a hot seat live Q&A, and that's where members can submit a question, or maybe there's a situation they're going through and you really need help on it. We're going to give you the airtime, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, up to half an hour of that time dedicated to help you. It's like having one-on-one coaching. And we also have regular Q&A within that Zoom. We have a Facebook group. The community connects inside a Facebook group, just like designer meetups, just like the Facebook group we have in Power of Process, except this is exclusive. I know I said I don't like that word, but it is important sometimes to Designers Room members. It is safe. It is private. And that's where people share. They share documents. They share, oh my God, Excel sheets. They share, like, the sharing is freaking phenomenal. So that Facebook group is there for you to use and connect. We also have something exciting coming. Actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Now I'm thinking if I should say this. Too late, Rebecca. Okay, well, we're going to make it happen. We are going to be launching a private, members only. There I go with being exclusive again. Jeepers. Okay, but it's important. A private, members only podcast. So if you are a Designers Room member and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't make the live calls. I never have time to sit at my computer and watch a replay or recording. Because if that's you, I'm you. Like, I want audio all day long. I'm in my car, I'm picking up my kids. I'm driving to the cottage. I'm driving up skiing. Like, that's when I can consume all the audio. We are launching a private members only podcast. And if you're a POP member, you've had this inside Power Process, same concept. You get it wherever you listen to your podcasts, and every single archives, that's what it was, from our archives. That was the word I was thinking of. Every single past recording, training, and Q&A will be uploaded so that you can listen to it on the road. So if you're like, oh my God, I really want to chime in and I wanted to watch that live call with Laura about HR and what's the difference between an employee and an independent contractor, because I'm thinking of hiring, but oh my God, I can't make it because I have to be on site, or I'm taking my kid to her music recital. Don't worry. It's going to be in the podcast. That is, at the time of recording this, that is not ready. So that's why I was hesitant to share it, but now we're going to make sure it's dang ready. So you'll just have to check back with me to see if it's ready to go. We have incredible guests. Like I mentioned, Laura, to talk about hiring. If you like this podcast, you're going to freaking love Designers Room. Like, I feel so passionate about it. Literally, when I get a good podcast guest, you don't know this, guys, but when I get a really good podcast guest, after I'm finished recording or before, depending on how well our, chit chat goes, I invite them to be a guest speaker inside Designers Room. And I would say 90% of them say yes. And what we do is then we take what we talked about in the podcast to the next level, and we go deeper, and they share resources. They share their screen. They have an actual presentation that's visual. Like, it is awesome. I've had so many guests who are on the podcast come into the membership to share, and all those trainings are recorded, but just, future moving forward, we are always looking for great guests. And that's also, I think, part of why I wanted to open this up to the, I hate saying general public because it's not open to the general public. Like, I don't want my clients in there. No, I don't want my neighbor in there. No, if you're listening, I love you, but this membership's not for you. and part of me wanting to open up is I want more people in it. And yeah, I'm charging way less money. So like, hopefully we can bring in enough resources to do the future things I want to do. Hopefully if enough members join, but it is an affordable price point, which means hopefully there'll be more people. And the more people we have, the easier it will be to attract incredible guests. the easier it will be to do things like what I have in my mind, to create a vendor program where we can get bulk discounts, better pricing, where we can, as Designers Room Collective, connect with wholesalers. As Designers Room, the collective, we can do a kick-ass event at High Point Market. As Designers Room, we can pretty much do anything. You dream it, you can make it happen. Is that a saying? I don't know. So the best part about it for you joining now, honestly, is you are getting, oh my gosh, an incredible foundation in this membership. We are welcoming you inside our incredible portal, which is filled with 2 years of trainings and resources. And you could start binging. And like a lot of you tell me you've binged the podcast and you're all caught up and you wish there was more. Well, shoot, there is. It's inside Designers Room. Oh yeah, I just remembered podcast. I'm getting excited and I'm forgetting. I have like bullet points. I'm not even looking at them. The podcast. Do you like Resilient by Design? If you're listening, I hope the answer is yes. One thing that we've just added, and it is there and is up and running inside our portal, you can search in the portal. There's like a search bar. So you can search for anything and it will pull up content. So let me explain. There are past trainings. I mentioned hiring, right? That's just one topic. You could type in hiring an independent contractor or hire an employee into that search bar. It is going to search using this AI technology that I mentioned earlier. It is going to search all of the past trainings and all the Q&As, and it is going to give you which recordings people talk about that, and wait for it, the timestamp. Yep, the timestamp. Like, what? And this is like just the beginning of what the AI can do. I mean, AI is a little bit freaking me out. That's a whole other conversation. They're basically probably going to replace us. And I just hope it's not my lifetime. But then I think about my kids and then my head goes to another bad place and we won't go there. But for our purposes today, it's really helpful. Think of it as YouTube, or it's a search engine like YouTube, or what's it called? Google. But for everything Rebecca does, everything I do. And if you're an avid listener and you know that there was, what was that episode again where Rebecca interviewed, what was her name? She talked about sales. Oh, can't remember her name. You go into Designers Room and you type in, I'm getting ahead of myself. You can use that search bar to search also, in addition to all the recorded trainings and all of the recorded Q&As, you can search this podcast. Like every single episode of Resilient by Design is now connected to this portal. You can search sales tactics. You're going to see all of the trainings and the podcast episodes where I talk about sales tactics, and it'll pop up. You can scroll down. I wish this was more visual. I could show you, but you could scroll down, unless of course you're on YouTube. And sorry guys, I'm not doing that right now, but we will probably do some kind of a Q&A session if people want to learn a little bit more about Designers Room and get the visual. But for now, this is a podcast, so this is what we got. And you can then scroll down and say, oh, that was it. It was her. It was Nikki Roush. Yes, I knew that. What was that again? Episode 1, blah, blah, blah. Cool. You can either listen to it right there in the portal or watch the YouTube video right there in the portal, or you can just make a note of it and go and listen to it on your phone. Like, hello. You can also get the timestamp specifically when Nikki talks about the thing that you're looking for. Like, I've been told by people that I could do a membership just for that, just to search the podcast. But I want community. I'm an includer. I can't help it. It's about having fun. I want to show up every day and get excited. I want to show up and like know that there's just one thing to focus my energies on, not a million things. There's so much coming to Designers Room in 2024. In-person events is one of the things that I've been wanting to do for a while. You guys know that I tried to host an event. I didn't really try, but I put it out into the universe. We planned it. We worked with an event planner to plan a beautiful exclusive retreat in Muskoka for designers. And like, we just didn't get the response we wanted. And so we refunded the people their money, because you have to put a lot of money in hopes that people are going to buy. And I was like, I don't think we have the resources to do this and fail. And so, part of it is if we can get lots of people into Designers Room, then we can do events for you guys. We're going to give discounts to Designers Room members on future courses and things that come out. Give me your ideas. Heck, let's freaking do them. I hope that you can feel my heart like coming through the microphone, coming through the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, and telling you that I believe it is 100% possible to create a business that you love to show up to every single day. One that allows you the freedom and the time to be with the people that you love. And that's my goal here. And I want to continue to share the love and the knowledge and bring the people together, bring the experts in. It's not about me. It's about you and your learning and connecting and making designer besties. Like I see the groups that have formed just from our little Designers Room circle that we've had up until now. And, they're meeting for coffee or they're on Zooms because they're not in the same geographical location. And it's freaking phenomenal. So if you are someone who is looking for like that team, it's like you work on your own, but you want a sounding board or a team of like-minded designers who can cheer you on, who can give you feedback, maybe give you new ideas. Because I know that when you run a design business, especially as a solopreneur, and even if you have a team, let's be honest, they can't help sometimes. You have questions that you need immediate answers to. Where do you go? Designers Room is the place to go. You type it into the chat, you type it into the search bar, you submit the question for a Q&A, and like you are going to get your answer. Like I can 100% guarantee that. Now, one day, maybe there'll be thousands of members and then we'll have to figure out a system for that. But I don't imagine that's going to happen right away. So get in now to get your questions answered. So let's talk about the money, because I'm sure you're curious. And hopefully by now you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. Get me in. We've just opened this to the design industry. And you already know that previously it was $127. Designers tell me all the time it was worth it. Very few people leave the membership. And so I probably could have just kept that price. However, I know, especially right now, that things might feel a little bit uncertain. I also know that when something is new, you might be a little more like trepidatious because yes, it's been around for 2 years, but you don't know yet fully the results you're going to get. And I know that a lot of our listeners are earlier on in their business journey. And even though Designers Room is for people who are at all 5 stages, and I actually have inside Designers Room, I walk you through, there's 5 stages, the way I see it, to a business growth journey. Whatever stage you're at in your business growth, you need the support. And so I wanted to make it affordable and accessible to everyone, regardless of where they're at in business. And so we were thinking, okay, let's make it $97. And then, and again, if you are listening to this podcast episode in the future, the price may be different because it'll likely go up. But then even at $97, I was like, I don't know. So what we are doing is we are opening it to you at $67 USD a month. And we will likely raise the price this year. But for those of you who are ready to take action, you want to get in and you want to be a part of this amazing thing that I really feel like I'm just starting, then you can do it today. All you guys need to do is go to RebeccaHay.com/join, JOIN, super easy and simple. And you can join us. You can learn more. You can always just go to the website, check it out. There are tons of great members that we're going to have on the podcast to talk about really how Designers Room has helped them triple and quadruple their revenue. I'm not even kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Like, it's so powerful. My business exploded because I had a group of 4 designer besties. We got together and I was like, oh, this, that, the other. Yep, I'm going to do that because I felt validated. I felt heard and I had great ideas. Imagine you had that every single day. So that's my big announcement. I don't know if that's what you were expecting or not. I'm really excited. I can't wait to welcome new members in. January, it's a time for rebirth. It's a time for renewal. It's a time to level set. You know, depending where you live, it could be really cold and miserable out, and we need something to get excited about. So I hope to see you guys inside our very first Zoom call. Whenever you join, you'll get the calendar. You'll get hooked up with all of the things. I'll see you inside the Facebook group. And from now moving forward, that is where you will find me. All I'm going to say here is, at the time of this recording, the public Facebook group that I have, Designer Meetups. It's a big group and it's a lot to manage. And I feel like some of you in that group would be better served inside Designer's Room. And so we are going to pause that group. We want to show up and put our resources into one place. And that means managing one Facebook group, which would be Designer's Room. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to hit me up with a DM. I'm really excited. And I just really wish you guys the best. And if you maybe heard this episode and it's got you thinking about your own business, like, you know, I really wanted to make a leap of faith, or I really wanted to make a change, or I don't know, like, I feel like there's things that I want. Talk to me, ask me, let me help you. And ultimately, trust your gut. Don't ask a million people, because trust me, look at me and my example. It takes you a lot longer to get to where you really want to go when you're listening to everybody else's opinions of what you should do, and nobody else knows your business like you do. They just don't. So I hope to welcome you inside Designer's Room. We're going to have a blast. 2024 is going to be the year to remember, because, you know, some ideas. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. And I will see you soon.